Hi guys, it's Wayne from Wayne Goodman Photography and Wayne's Got Gas. The Metabones adapter I bought yesterday was going back this morning because I thought there's not enough difference between that and the Commlite adapter. So I'm thinking, great, I've saved myself some money. And then I thought, well, somebody asked me to do this test anyway, but I've kind of done it about 3 times over the past couple of days, and then the Metabones arrived. So I thought, well, I better do it just in case, because the reason that you can fit your Canon lenses to a Sony A7R, A7 whatever, A7R2 is because of the adapter, obviously. But the reason why the adapter works is because what it does is it fills out the sort of the back of the lens to allow a correct amount of light to hit from the lens to the sensor. And it's a very, very accurate measurement that it needs to be, the adapter. So it can be like 0.25 millimeters, here or there, and you could start getting real differences. So I thought, well, I might as well just try it and do a test of the Commlite versus the Metabones with my Canon 17mm lens. It's a tilt shift lens, and what that means is that it tilts up and down, tilts left and right, or it also shifts up and down or shifts left and right. It's a lens that I absolutely adore because you can do sort of panoramics without moving and various things. It's a really clever thing. It's something you should look into if you're into landscapes or architecture, because it also helps to straighten out buildings. But going away from that for now, I'm quite amazed by the difference in the results. I did notice something that made me think something wasn't quite right the other day when I took the pictures of the train station, and I noticed just in the bottom right hand corner there was actually a lot of smearing to the image. So softness, I'm not too bothered about, but when the image smears, you can't really do anything about that in post. So I was a little bit concerned, but I thought, well, it must just be me. I must have had the wrong settings. But I think I was actually right to be concerned, because I have here 4 images, okay? The one you see here on the left and the one here, the third one along, they're both of the side of my house, basically. And the left one is using the Metabones, and the right one is using the Commlite. Now if I do a comparison, okay, so we have both of these images here. Now they're as close as I could get. I mean, I had to move the camera to change the adapter and everything, but I did then refocus the adapter, using the screen, just make sure everything's correct. If I zoom in, let's just get the computer to do that. Right, so I've zoomed in there, and sharpness there is very similar, right in the center of the image. There's not too much difference. But if I move the image along, can you see already over here, these lines here, they're just starting to blur a little bit. I don't know if I can zoom in more. Yeah, so you can see there's definitely more sort of sharper edge on areas like that, which I guess is somewhere around there, isn't it? So on the left hand side we've got the Metabones, on the right hand side we've got the Commlite. I'll just move it right to the edge, and it starts to get much worse. I mean, you can see here we've got sort of definitive lines, but here we've just got mush. And this to me can only be something to do with the design of the adapter, because the lens is the same, the camera body is the same, all that's changed is the adapter. And if you look at this brick here, the other thing as well that I've noticed is colour and contrast seem slightly different. So again, I don't know if that's to do with the adapter, but the settings were exactly the same. I didn't change anything at all. Stuck it on manual, 1/10 of a second, on a tripod as solid as possible, f8, ISO 100, everything stayed the same. So really, if the two adapters were identical, then there wouldn't be any difference. But look how much smeariness. I mean, that there is that there. Now that to me, that's a massive difference. That's not something you want to see, and especially when you're doing these panoramic images. I mean, I want to have as much sharpness as possible. I do expect a little bit of softness, because the lens, if you look at it, it's more like a fisheye the 17mm, but it's a very, very sharp lens. And but this is performance on a par with, I'd say, my 6D. This is going to be pretty much unusable, so I'm quite surprised at how much difference there is. Then what I did, if I come back to here, I'm going to compare these two images. Now this is with the lens fully shifted to the left. I went all the way. I mean, it's got sort of like a red area that you're not supposed to go into, and this is that red area, because what it does then is it starts to vignette, and that can cause its own problems basically. But so if we just zoom in on, if we just compare those two, and what I did was, just here I put a piece of paper that's got some writing on it. I stuck it to the fence, and we'll just zoom in. Now zoom out a little bit. Right, now you can see, not just on the piece of paper, I mean we have got some purple fringing, ignore all that, that can be sorted out, but just the definition of everything, like that corner there of that post, just everything sort of just looks a lot more blurred. And look at the contrast of the numbers on here versus that. Now there's a very fine line of focusing this lens. It's got a real big throw on the manual focus, but it's still, I did my very, very best to get it absolutely as perfect as possible. And no matter what I did with the Commlite adapter, that was the very best that I could get. And that's in the corner, but we've just got so much more contrast with this Metabones. So alright, I don't want to spend the amount of money I spent on that Metabones. Really, it was an awful lot of money, but if it means that suddenly the camera allows me to use my 17mm, whereas I couldn't do with the Commlite, then unfortunately I've got to look at that and I've got to think, well, that's what I've got to do. I've got to spend the money, and I've got to have that Metabones. So honestly, this morning my thoughts were, look, Metabones is what, 7 times the price or something of the other one. I'm not seeing enough difference in focusing to make me really warrant it. Blah blah blah. I'm just going to stick with my Canon 7D for sports, and I'm going to have the A7R2 as my walkabout camera with a 35mm lens and my 17mm and stuff like that. That's how I was going to do it. But now I think I'm actually going to stick with the Metabones, and there's a possibility, because I'm doing that I might actually swap all my lenses to make sure that they work with the Metabones, just have the one camera. So I really just wanted to show you this, because I'm sure it's not just this lens that it affects. It's probably going to be more apparent on a wide angle lens like this, so if you're going from like 24 upwards, then you might be better off. I've not really seen this issue in other tests, but it's definitely there, isn't it? And that's just something I wasn't expecting. So hopefully this is some information that you won't have seen before. I'm doing my best to bring sort of unique content about the A7R2. Obviously they're all coming out now, so people are bringing out videos, but I'm doing my best to sort of keep it to how I would want to see it, the videos I would want to be looking at. I'll just quickly show you, just while I see it, just down here as well, the bottom edge on both of them does seem quite similar, but it's just that mush, and it's actually very similar actually on the very bottom with both adapters, but with that there it's actually a little bit sharper, but that could just be the way that I had to focus to try and get that piece of paper in, because I was focused here basically and here, so here doesn't, maybe that's affected because of that. But all I know is, on average, this Metabones adapter seems to do a much better, sharper, contrastier job than the Commlite. Okay, so keep subscribing, leave your comments and give me your thoughts on this. I'd be really interested in, just in case I'm missing something and I can save myself an absolute fortune. That would be really good. But I don't think I am. I've tried everything. I've tried the same settings and everything. So hopefully that's how it is. But leave your comments, thumbs up, and keep subscribing, because I'm going to be bringing you more videos. Thanks.